Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the FPL watch list. It is, of course, the long break, but if you're like me, you're still looking for content. Basically, every podcast that I'm subscribed to, as soon as it drops, I'm like, yes, finally, something to listen to. So hopefully, this will be something good to talk about and listen to for the next week. We're going to discuss a lots of if, buts, and maybes. So if you want to know exactly what to do, this unfortunately probably won't be the best podcast for you, but no one really can give you absolutes until the FA Cup is done. That will be a week and a half away now. It is slowly approaching international break. But we'll get to all of that. We'll discuss blanks, doubles, chips, everything we're considering. First of all, Tom, Stephen, how are we both doing? Tom?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Enjoying the break. Make sure that Chelsea can't ruin things for, 2 weeks till we go out the FA Cup to League Two opposition.
Surely not.
No, I hope not. But yeah, nice to just chat casually and then not have to panic yet. I'm sure after next weekend it will be waiting for those fixtures to drop and then panic wildcards.
Exactly. We can have a stress-free time now, so that when the panic hits that week, that we've had our lull before it all begins. Stephen, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, thanks. Yeah, we're sort of in that purgatory grey area where it's the world of predictions now, isn't it? Trying to predict which teams, will go through, and that's never a nice place to be because we all know football can do some crazy things sometimes. So yeah, I can't wait to be seeing Port Vale, going to the next round. That would be great.
Whoa, whoa! You can cheer on Southampton as the upset, not us. We can't. Cool. We don't have points from this week, do we? I mean, game week 31 already feels like quite a long time ago. 2 green arrows and a tiny, tiny red. Tom, I think you said you moved 6 places?
Yeah, it is 116829. I was previously 824. It's basically Anthony Gordon. After Saturday, it was actually going quite well, nearly 100k, but not having Gordon, then Chow not turning up. Yeah, Dango was benched, which was annoying. Chow was benched, very annoying. Transfers didn't really pay off. Van Dijk in for 3 and Chow in for 0. In hindsight, Enzo to Gordon, I don't know. Maybe I should have considered that.
But Enzo was pretty close to scoring, though, wasn't he?
Pickford did do that really good save.
Yeah.
Enzo's XGI since his last return is quite, Anyway, won't go into that because hopefully I can sell him this week. But yeah, Dango's benching was probably the forgot anything from him would have been a green, but yeah, at least I captained Bruno and not Wilson. 4 points, every little helps.
Do we think Dango was a knock, right?
I don't know. I kind of sounded like an excuse to change system because he didn't replace him with an attacker. He put in Pinnock.
Yeah.
So why would
didn't work?
Yeah, why would he do that? But I guess they drew 0-0, so hopefully he comes back in next week.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt. I mean, he was their best player in the game before that, so not particularly surprised. Anything in particular highlight of your weekend, FPL-wise, Stephen?
I suppose just hitting another Bruno captaincy was nice. Other than that, I mean, I'm just happy to see my man Harry Wilson getting more points on the board. And actually, I should say my highlight, and it doesn't sound like a very exciting highlight, but the fact that Nathan Collins, that I held on to him for this long, and he finally comes in and gets a nice little 6-pointer for me. I mean, I needed that. I needed that justification that I held on to him, and he's clawed his way back into the starting 11. So happy to see him get some points on the board.
How nice was it for Morgan Rogers to get you some returns?
Finally, I mean, and the assist, it was an FPL assist at the end of the day. So we, kind of still got away with that one, but we'll take anything we can get, especially in a week where it was a big blank game week. I was just happy to sort of not use a chip and stay in amongst it.
Yeah,
I was watching the Spurs game and I got a notification saying Villa had scored. So I went on my phone and watched it, and it was like a minute behind. So I saw Rodgers pick up the ball, run the half, and I was like, just put this in, and then the keeper saved, so it wasn't as good, but it's nice he did something. He had 4 shots and created 4 chances.
Yeah.
It was really lively in that game. I was actually there. I was watching it. I took my mum to see it. We go once a year. She's a Villa fan, so I take her. And he was great. Like, he was really good. He was back to Rodgers' best. How he didn't score in the first half, I don't quite know. So 6 points probably feels nice, but it definitely could have been more.
It felt like we kind of earned more after 5 blanks in a row. But
We'll take it.
Cool. So really what we're going to do today is have a look and discuss if, buts and maybes around chip talk and chip strategy and all of that. So as I'm sure you're aware, both Tom and I, if you've listened to this podcast, are big followers of Planet FPL, and they did a little bit of a chat on Monday about this and all that could be changed depending on cup results. If you haven't listened to that podcast, I would advise to add it to your weekly listen, but go and give that, because a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about is sort of coming from James's thought process. But of course, between now and game week 32, we've got the FA Cup quarterfinals, where you've got up on screen City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Port Vale, Southampton, Arsenal, and West Ham, Leeds, which will then cause clashes, but in game week 34, whoever gets through. The big confusion, first of all, is trying to predict where those fixtures, well, first of all, trying to predict who wins, I think, is the first difficult thing. Like, we've not got 4 FA Cup ties here that are really easy to predict. Even Southampton are in pretty good form in the Championship. Chelsea are home to Port Vale. Port Vale. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As a Chelsea fan, to see someone else lose a cup final because of Kepa felt a little bit sweet. But then, City, Liverpool, and West Ham, Leeds, particularly, are the 2 games which are pretty difficult to call who's going to win those. So that's the first barrier. And then in game week 34, it will cause a clash. And where those fixtures go, with a lot of the teams in here being out of Europe, is the next issue. So the fixtures we've got are game week 33 and game week 34. If you're listening on podcast, it might be one that's worth heading over to YouTube to try and watch. If not, try and listen along and follow as much as you can. So the first thing, to mention is game week 34 for all the teams outside of Europe who are not in Europe anymore. So that's City, that's Chelsea, that's West Ham and Leeds. Game week 34 is now free, right? So those fixtures can just stay in game week 34. But the ones could go into game week 33 as well. It's a free midweek, but for the teams still in Europe, like Liverpool and Arsenal, are much, much more likely to go into 33. So we feels like a bigger unknown now than we have done in previous seasons, because it feels like there's more teams out of Europe now than we've had in previous years, which makes it harder to predict, right?
Yeah, 33 midweek is completely free of Europe, those, right? So if the Premier League wanted to have maximised TV viewing, they would put them in 33. But last year they didn't. We should say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I think the general predictions are they split them to try and get some TV, the following midweek, and some TV in the first week. But yeah, ideally they wouldn't clash, but they did it last season, so we've got to presume that going into the midweek of 34 is a chance, is a possibility. That's the word I'm looking for. So I think the big thing really is around City and Liverpool and the 2 chip strategies we've got. Have you both thought about wildcard 32? How likely it is for you, Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, and I guess the general discourse around the wildcard 32 is that it does set you up, obviously, as a wildcard should. It sets you up for the rest of the season, and we'll have all the information we sort of will need to pick the players for that wildcard. But then it becomes a question of, is your team actually just better without wildcarding in game week 32 in isolation? So a lot of people have some players with decent fixtures. Like, I've got triple Brentford that week, which I quite like. And yeah, it's sort of, it's tricky to find the balance between wanting to set yourself up for the bench boost and other chips that you're going to use for the rest of the season, or just going for not playing any chips and your team looking better in 32 than it does without the wildcard.
This is it. Like, I've looked at it, and my team looks better in 32 if I don't play the wild card. It's predicted to score more points. I've got transfers to deal with. Yeah, I mean, partly because of Chelsea. Yeah, but also, like, I'd be taking. I mean, something like an Ekatike is a player we were talking about before the stream, who is currently, boosting predicted points home to Fulham, but I'm not sure how confident I'll be with that when it comes around, particularly with Alexander Isak coming back. But yeah, Chelsea City are a big part of it. They play each other in game week 33. And if they both double in they play each other in 32. If they both double in 33, you're probably going to want 6. And then you're going to play 6 of them against each other in game week 32. So you can always book in transfers. You can bench some of them. But, and
Does
you know,
that
for
have
example,
Bruno
Newcastle.
in your team? Are you still going to have Bruno to captain in 32, even if you wildcarded?
Probably.
Yeah.
I probably would, yeah. And like 32, like Newcastle, predicted to double in 33. They go away to Palace in 32. Now, that is either side of their Europa Conference League game, but that's also not a particularly great fixture to suddenly triple up on Newcastle for. A lot of the teams predicted to double in 33 don't have the best 32 fixture. So I agree with you, Stephen. It's the how much do you go piling into it? I think if Liverpool win, it's slightly different because Liverpool have Fulham at home. Now, there might be rotation because that's in between their 2 PSG games. But I feel like that's slightly better for it. But particularly if City win, that City-Chelsea game in 32 makes it quite difficult to pick a wildcard team, I think.
Which is why, if
tricky.
you've used your bench boost chip, you could wait. And we could...
Yeah.
We've got someone here who's used their bench boost chip.
Yeah. I mean, for better or for worse, I have used it. I only got 11 points off it, but I guess the expected headaches has reduced significantly.
Yeah, I actually think if you've used your bench boost, the chip strategies are better because you don't have to wildcard 32 in order to bench boost 33. You can either wildcard 33 or you can free hit 33 and wildcard 35. Which way are you leaning at the moment?
I'm looking. I've always been an advocate of wildcarding earlier, and I think it sort of suits my team. I really can go either way. I can free hit. It entirely depends on how all these fixtures land with the FA Cup. But if everything goes how I think it goes, I'll probably end up wildcarding in 33 and then free hitting in 34.
Yeah, I suppose the benefit to wildcard 35 would be is if we do get doubles towards the end of the season, you'd have the ability to set yourself up well for that. Because I was looking at it, right? Liverpool are a big factor here. That if Liverpool win and force their Palace double in 33, meaning City would have to double against Palace, most likely in 36 if Palace stay in Europe. Now, Liverpool can also double later down the line if they get to the FA Cup final, because, of course, they clash with Villa in 37. But Villa Liverpool can't go to the midweek of 37 because it's the final of the Europa League, which Villa are in. We suddenly could have a position where there are quite a lot of doubles in 36 if Liverpool win. That's why I think that result is better for most of us in FPL, just because chaos is good, right? More doubles are good. Which if you'd have saved your wild card for 35 and suddenly we get four teams doubling in 36 with a couple of them then blanking the following week in 37, it's much easier to set yourself up for that than if you've wildcarded early. So yeah, I mean, that Liverpool one is going to be a big decider. Tom, have you looked at wildcard 32? How likely is it for you?
I mean, I've tried to, in the main, just wait, but I was looking at because I watched your video, which was very good on, was it Sunday? Which talks about wildcard 35 being the second strategy. And then I listened to Planet FPL, and then I kind of thought, well, what would I do if I was going to hold the wildcard? And I think I can get a pretty good team in 32 and 34.
Yeah.
With my 3 free transfers I'll have between now and then. It means buying maybe Cunha, who's got Leeds and Brentford at home. Would be Bowen, would be decent with Wolves and Everton at home. Obviously, that's providing that West Ham fixture stays in 34. So yeah, there are teams that you can target for 32 and 34 with a good pair of home games.
Yeah.
Maybe even Arsenal. Maybe I should get Timber back or something. So.
Although likely to blank.
Yeah, sorry, good. Yeah, sorry, there's so much to think about. But yeah, there are teams with 2 good home fixtures. Like even someone like Rodgers, which I hadn't really planned on watching any more of this year, but it's Forest and Fulham. So, like you said, our teams look pretty good in 32, 34 with a free hit 33. And then I think in the bench boost in 36 you can get some, like, I think Palace, Wolves, Villa all play at home.
Yeah, it's weird. So again, a lot comes down to this Liverpool result. I think if Liverpool win, it makes the wild card more powerful whenever you play it, because it's likely to make the bench boost in 33 look slightly better, because Palace are probably a better team to have as part of the bench boost than Burnley, who it would most likely be if City win, which makes the early wildcard better if Liverpool win. But if Liverpool win, it also makes game week 36 potentially look like a bigger double, which again makes the wildcard being saved better. Whereas if City win, it just makes everything look not nearly as exciting, because they don't have, Europe. They are playing Burnley in 34, so the double team is Burnley, which again is much less exciting than if it was Liverpool and Palace. So yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping that Liverpool win, just for a bit of chaos. Like, not because I think it makes one strategy or the other slightly better. I just think it opens up much bigger possibilities and much bigger upside for people, because it creates a little bit more chaos. Whereas if City win, it's all a bit boring, I think.
I was thinking the same thing, Harry, because I've always been annoyed at the people who, I mean, more annoyed at myself, but really a lot of people who aren't really in the FPL sphere and clued in. Like, you see these teams where people haven't made a transfer all season, and there's one guy who's in the top, two, 300. I mean, something like this, the chaos that a Liverpool
Yeah.
win, it really helps the people who are engaged in FPL and can navigate that sort of strategies and all that sort of things. I think everyone who plays FPL every single day will want this Liverpool win, because the chaos it will create a lot of, like you said, high upside that you can attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And again, on the similar vein, if City win and we all wildcard 32 into a team that looks worse, people who don't wildcard because they're not focusing on the double will be like, well, why did you wildcard to a team that's worse than your original team? Which is a very valid argument, right? Is
Yeah.
the potential, like, I'm going to gain an extra 4 fixtures on my bench boost, but is it worth those 4 fixtures sacrificing what I might lose in game week 32? Now, I've got Brian and Burma at home to Leeds and Hugo Ekitike at home to Fulham, which look great, but in principle and in practice, I'm not sure quite how good they are, really, once we actually get to it. So for those of you who are looking to wildcard in game week 32, we can cover a few of the teams and talk about a few of their picks potentially. I think Arsenal is the first one. We'll start with the teams most likely to double, which is Arsenal and Newcastle. Arsenal, I've put together a few drafts. I'm pretty convinced I'd go triple defense. I don't really see an attacker that I like enough. Like, I'm not going to put Saka in. Like, I've not got the money for that to start with, especially if Haaland and Chelsea double. I don't really see anyone else, unless you go Rice, but he's not been that great recently. Anyone at Arsenal apart from Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, maybe Hincapié, that's worth looking at? Would you consider going Rice, do you think?
Yeah, I'd
I
have
think
to
he's
see how
worth
the other
considering.
midfielders shaked out, because I'd never not pick Rice. I mean, I would never not consider picking Rice. I think he's going to play every game, and you know what you're getting. He's the second highest Arsenal player for a reason. He's outscored Saliba by 60 points. I don't have the minutes to hand, but did Saliba miss loads of games, or
He missed a few, yeah.
still 60 points,
Yeah, it's a lot.
But his recent returns, he 3-3, 5-4, 9-5, 5-3. It's kind of like Anderson for a bit more money.
Yeah, someone in the chat saying Gyökeres, but
Come on.
I mean, the issue is if the teams who are predicted to double do double, it will be Haaland, João Pedro, and then like Welbeck, Fleming, or Gyökeres. I mean, I'm not spending the money on Gyökeres. I'm pretty convinced. I tried that earlier on in the season, and we all sat here every week saying his XG was good, and he never scored any goals. And I'm pretty convinced I'm not going to do that again. But yeah, Rice is probably one that needs a bit more consideration, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to go anywhere outside of the Arsenal defense, I would go as far to say that Rice is really the only option, because Saka and Gyökeres are not worth the price tag.
Yeah, I mean, Saka as an FPL pick this season is a crazy downfall compared to how we thought he was at the beginning of the season.
Him and Salah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just
I saw him and Salah have less points than Ampadu.
Surely not.
Someone said that. I need to double check before I start saying
that's not true.
hearsay.
That's not true. Ampadu's got 30 less than Saka.
Okay, I was baited by that, but Ampadu does have 100 points, which is kind of mad.
I think David Raya would be a lock on it, just because if they did win the league before the end of the season, I still think Raya would keep playing.
Sorry, to go back, my point. He has more points than Salah and Palmer.
Oh, it's Palmer.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll pick Ampadu.
With Ray, I don't know if I agree with that. I could see Kepa getting a game or two because the Golden Glove is pretty. There's a bit of a gap, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced you'd be worrying about that yet.
No, but I suppose you don't necessarily want to be using a transfer on a goalkeeper in the final few weeks of the season, right?
Yeah, but presumably you'd have a good second keeper that's not Dubravka.
Yeah.
He's 4
Maybe.
clean sheets ahead of Pickford, so he could have that wrapped up by 35.
They could have it all wrapped up by 35, and that would change things once again. The next one is Newcastle. Botman has had to have surgery, so it sounds like Malik Chow should go back in and is probably going to play the majority of games. Lewis Hall, Anthony Gordon. The one I'm hoping is back is Bruno Guimaraes. I did not own him earlier on in the season when he punished me week in, week out. I quite like the Bruno Guimaraes and Gordon double, with one of them defensively, is currently the way that I'd look at it, unless you want to double up. Ramsdale in goal, but I don't think there's a huge, again, with Pope there, always you're going to have a risk every week, right, with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they've just lost, so, big break.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a shock.
No. So again, it's Lewis Hall, it's Malik Chow. I mean, it could be Dan Burn, it could be Livramento, and yeah, then the midfielders. I think there's no forwards there either. Forwards are pretty slim pickings.
Well, yeah, one of them plays in midfield and the other two don't start, so...
Yeah, fair.
Bruno Guimaraes is
Chelsea?
interesting, to be fair, because I haven't thought he would be a default. I guess that would be the Rice slot if you got triple Arsenal, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chelsea mids, you're about to say Chelsea, there's not...
Yeah.
And if you're going triple Arsenal defense, you're not going to go double Newcastle defense. You'll only have Arsenal and
Yeah, they'd have and they play against each other in the double. You'd have 5 players.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think João Pedro would be a lock.
Yeah, it has to
yeah,
be.
without a doubt.
It's then
People will
Palmer,
be tempted for
Enzo.
Palmer. They will be tempted, especially if there was money to play with, if something happened.
I'm going Ampadu instead.
So I've looked at selling Bruno in 33 to Palmer if Chelsea double.
You just know
But
that
then-
Bruno's just going to do something at Stamford Bridge.
I mean, I get it's the extra fixture, but then in 35, you're going to want to reverse the transfer.
Is there
Or
a case that
36.
if City lost in the FA Cup, you wouldn't have Haaland on wildcard? So then,
Almost certainly wouldn't have
So
Haaland
then,
on
so
wildcard,
then,
yeah.
if you don't have Haaland, I'm guessing Palmer is very easy to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pedro, Welbeck or Fleming, Haaland front line is going to be the template.
People will say
Neil Sir in the
Enzo.
chat.
I'm not. I don't know.
You-
He can't- It's hard to argue with him data wise because he always plays and he always gets in good positions and he'll probably get another couple 2 or 3 goals. But it's like
So this is the
been a bit
issue, right?
grim.
If it is the 6 teams predicted to double, you're going to have to pick some Chelsea players that aren't João Pedro.
And if Chalobah's injured, defenders, who do you go for? It would be Cucurella. You'd have to, right?
It would have to be. It's the only one you could pick. Unless Gusto. But he got hooked, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
He's played
Fofana,
45
as
and-
bad as Fofana is, it's 1 game a week. Although in the double it wouldn't be, would it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It would have to be Cucurella.
yeah.
It would, yeah. And that's a big investment.
Do we say his name, Mr. Mr. Rob Sanchez. I've
it.
literally died defending him for years, and it's like I still blame Rossinha for dropping it before our biggest game of the season, and since then he hasn't been the same. But yeah, you're not going to pick him because he could so easily put Jorgensen back in.
Yeah, Caicedo.
That's tough.
Caicedo on a bench boost. What, guaranteed 6 points?
No, but it's it's hardly like his DEFCON's been rubbish. He's hit it once in the past 6 games.
Same amount as Thiago.
Yeah.
Has he? What? I mean, he hasn't been playing as well. Like, he definitely hasn't been making as many tackles. And if he gets if he gets a yellow card this week, he will be suspended for a double.
Okay.
So then you can't wildcard him.
So then you can pick Andre Santos, who's 4.5.
But you can't wildcard 32 into Caicedo, who's one yellow card away from the 2 games.
Yeah, so you can't pick Caicedo then. Yeah, fine.
So it's literally Enzo, Palmer, João Pedro.
Cucurella.
People are like shouting like Esteval, Neto. I'm not picking our wingers.
You can pick a winger if you want, but you're not going to get 2 stars.
No, you're not.
And
you
if you do, you're not going to get attacking returns then.
Yeah. Neto would be the one I'd look at, but you're not going to get enough returns out of him. Like Cucurella, if you've got the money for Palmer, and João Pedro.
So if Haaland is doubling then you have to pick João Pedro, like you're going to then have to pick Enzo, right? Because you're not going to afford Palmer. Yeah. So Enzo's going to become default, basically.
Enzo will be really popular unless people sacrifice Bruno, yeah.
God, so I have to keep
That's not
Enzo.
gonna happen.
I still have to have Enzo.
Yeah.
The guy hasn't got over 5 points for 8 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wants
Like,
to
it's
leave,
pretty rough.
but yeah.
This is why, and the more we talk about it, the more the free hit 33 just looks like the better strategy if City win. Because we can go on to the other teams, right? Brighton. I'm going to own double Brighton defence in Verbruggen and Van Heck. And Welbeck.
They could be the saving grace, though, of the bench boost strategy, right? Because they have Burnley and then a decent double.
Yeah.
Spurs away, Chelsea at home. But like...
Welbeck, Minte, Van Heck.
There's really no inspiring doublers, is there?
Jack Hinshelwood was in the draft I built.
He had great data before this weekend and then cashed in with an assist, didn't he?
To be fair, he's had 3 assists in his last 5 and he's hit DEFCON, I think in... Where is DEFCON? Oh, no. No, he hasn't hit any DEFCON anymore. He used to, but it's dried up. I mean, this is the issue. Pascal Gross, someone in the chat.
Not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Bit of an FPL legend as well.
What's he done? Is he done... Does he do
No,
DEFCON?
he plays 90. Nope.
He's got it twice in 11, yeah. It's not great, is it?
No. This is the issue, right? What are we wildcarding
This
into
is
here?
it. Like,
So if City beat Newcastle, if City beat Liverpool, your template wildcard is 3 City, 3 Chelsea, although as we've discussed, quite hard to do that.
3 City, 3 Arsenal.
Definitely 2
6.
Newcastle, that's 8.
Probably 3 Newcastle.
So that's 9. Couple of Chelsea, 11. 3 Brighton, 14. Plus Bruno Fernandes, 15.
sorted.
Or you drop one of them and you go for like Dubravka and you go 1 Burnley or something. But yeah. It's not particularly inspiring, is it?
It's not.
The only benefit to a lot of this is those teams do finish the season with good fixtures. Like
Chelsea,
35,
Brighton.
Chelsea have got Forest at home, City go away to Everton, Newcastle have got Brighton at home, Arsenal have got Fulham at home in 35. Like, it's good. Game week 36, City host Brentford, Chelsea Liverpool in 36 isn't great, but Newcastle play Forest, Arsenal travel to West Ham. Again, it's pretty good. It does travel the length of the season pretty well with those 5 teams, which is the benefit. Like, the long-term prospect of Wildcard 32 is good. It's just the week you're playing it isn't particularly great.
Yeah.
which again opens up the possibility of the free hit 33 strategy, because in game week 32 you wouldn't have to buy Chelsea players and City players playing against each other. You then free hit in the double in 33 to buy the optimum team. You can then make a better judgment call on City, who you want, who do you want for the specific double. 34 you don't free hit, and then you could wildcard for the final few weeks of the season, and you'd know by then if we do have a later double, it's just you sacrifice 4 fixtures on your bench boost.
The more I think about it, if like for people without a bench boost like myself, the more I think about it, that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Although in your case, Harry, with 5 free transfers, you could probably basically do it. If you could build a pretty good bench boost.
Yeah, not quite. I think I can get to about 11 or 12 doublers.
Oh, because there won't be enough teams, right? Is that what you were saying? If there's...
Yeah, I don't have enough players from the team that are predicted to double unless Everton double. Because they play West Ham in 34.
Yeah, if they do move all the fixtures back, for example, and West Ham was moved back, then the bench boost looks a bit better because you could do Hermanson.
The chances of that happening are pretty slim because West Ham play on the Monday night in 33. This is a really strange bit of scheduling, I would say, by the Premier League to put Palace, West Ham on the Monday night. Now, they did, as someone in the chat has already said, put that as an asterisk fixture, that it could move. But I only think they'll move it if they have to for Palace. Like, if Palace don't need the midweek, then there's no point in moving it just for West Ham when the West Ham fixture can stay in a 34. But if they're moving it for Palace, then, again, makes 33 better, which is why, again, I will be supporting Liverpool when that fixture happens in the FA Cup, because I just think chances of it being better for all the chips. And if you've got triple captain left, I think, again, you should be cheering on Liverpool to win this double, to win that fixture. If you're wanting to maximise chips, it is much better if Liverpool win.
Who would be the 6 doubling teams in 36, potentially?
So the possibility of 6 doubling teams in 36 would be Palace and City, because that fixture would still need to be rearranged. It would be Liverpool and Villa, if Villa were to reach the Europa League final, which they are currently favourites to win it. So Liverpool, Villa, that fixture would, and if Liverpool stay in the FA Cup. And the other potential is Arsenal, Burnley, just to make it fair before an FA Cup final, if Arsenal were going to reach it as well, that they played the midweek before. If Liverpool, let's say the FA Cup final is Liverpool, Arsenal, it
With
could
the same
be as many as 6.
Chelsea.
If it's Chelsea instead of Arsenal, yes. Yeah.
I mean, that would be nice. Arsenal, Burnley.
That would be nice. Yeah.
And again, it would be quite an interesting one because you then start having teams doubling 36 and blanking 37.
Whew.
But it would be like the last opportunity to really try and make gains with a double in 36. But you then have to limit how many players you have blanking the following week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the City result is the most likely result, I think. Liverpool not being particularly great recently, but Arne Slot might look at it and think, if he's not going to be there next season, a trophy in his last season is probably more important than where he cares to finish in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they will care more about it.
Yeah, I guess it's 3 days before PSG.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to balance it, I guess.
And City will be full strength. So it realistically would need an upset. City don't have Europe after, Liverpool do against PSG. Chances are we'll get a full strength City team and not a full strength Liverpool team, which is fine. That's the probable scenario that we need to deal with, is City winning, which does bode the question of a free hit 33 because the bench boost is not as strong.
And to be fair, even a full strength Liverpool against a full strength City, you'd still probably edge it towards City with the form both teams are in.
Yeah,
I mean,
we haven't really
Arsenal.
We haven't really spoken about City. Where do you think your triple up would be?
You would pick Haaland. Otherwise, like as we discussed, the forwards are pretty poor unless Bowen was to double or Calvert-Lewin. But if projected, you're not going to pick Fleming ahead of Haaland to have Palmer. I wouldn't have thought.
Haaland, Semenyo.
Oh, it's got to be O'Reilly, surely.
It's got to be O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I think Semenyo's the difficult one.
Yeah. Who else?
Why is it difficult?
Turkey.
Just the minutes, I think. Like, he has been great, but then he didn't start Madrid, did he? But I think it probably would be O'Reilly, Semenyo, Haaland for most people.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat saying Turkey.
Yeah, don't mind Turkey.
Turkey's not going to start again after his antics. Did you see him like push Pep at the full-time whistle?
Yeah.
No.
But when the full-time whistle goes, he runs past Pep and just like gives him a massive shove.
Someone saying double defense, go with Mateus Nunes or someone. I mean, it's not like
Nunes is a very kind of slept-on pick in.
Yeah.
FPL.
Yeah, fair.
Semenyo does make the money quite tight. Like if you drop Semenyo out, you can afford. Like if you drop one of those expensive players out, you can afford it, and Semenyo could be the one that people sacrifice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that, but I do think it's. Yeah, I guess it is either Semenyo or Mateus Nunes, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was going to say, could it be Mark Gay, but he didn't start the final, did he? And they've got loads of centre-backs back now.
He was unable to play the final.
Oh, was he not?
Yeah, he didn't even get a medal. Poor guy. Because he signed after the first leg of the semi-final.
Oh,
whereas Semenyo signed before the first leg.
Okay, well then ignore me.
Maybe someone gets on a run. I guess the thing with City midfielders, they're quite unpredictable. Like it could be Shirky's time. Like you might get 6 game weeks out of Shirky. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the slight benefit of the free hit, right? You could get to the free hit week, and I know it's only a week later than the wild card, but you might think, oh, I don't know, someone's got a knock, so you can punt Shirky for the double. Whereas if you're wild card 32, you're probably not going to take that gamble. You might have a better read on, is Gyökeres going to play both the games in the double? Like those sorts of things, you might have a better read on and be able to punt that. Whereas for the rest of the season, you're not going to buy Gyökeres on your wild card. So, yeah, I just think there's a possibility that free hit 33 works. It's just you're sacrificing 4 extra fixtures effectively on the bench boost.
Mm-hmm.
Can I kind of round up the discussion by just asking if everything goes as projected, City win, like Chelsea move backwards, West Ham don't move backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what do you have any like? Is that a wild card? Does that lock it in or?
It does not lock it in. I think if City win, I may well free hit 33.
So what has to happen for you to wildcard Liverpool?
If Liverpool win, I'm almost certain to wildcard because the bench boost is so good.
Interesting. So if everything goes as projected, that doesn't guarantee a wildcard.
No. But the only thing I would say, and I've been thinking about this, is a 15-player bench boost is one of the best weeks of the season to try and make ground. Like, and if you're chasing, backing against a 15-player bench boost is a pretty tough thing to back against. Even if you don't think your team in 32 looks great, even if you don't think the doublers in 33 looks great, going into game week 33 with 11 players playing against someone else's 30 is quite a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the free hit gains, like the free hit is going to be the same as the wildcard without the bench boost, right? Like unless there was a big injury after 32. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose like the benefit is you could take Bruno out, right? And if you're wildcarding, then they might have Bruno.
Mm-hmm. Probably would.
But yeah, I mean, you're going to lose. If you're not bench boosting in 33, you're going to lose to the wildcarders because they will have your team plus essentially maybe even 6 or 8 players on the bench.
So the bench boost 33 does feel like the biggest upside strategy just because of the number of fixtures you get.
And even though those fixtures aren't great for a lot of teams, it is just an extra game for all of your players.
Yeah, and all it takes is like a win or a 0-0 on Sunday. Everyone's got clean sheets and
Yeah.
now that's interesting though, because I kind of assumed if everyone went as projected, a World Cup might be preferable. But...
All eyes on these quarter-final games.
Absolutely. Let's do some questions from the chat before we wrap up, just to make sure we've covered everything. I know this has been a bit more of a chatty podcast. If you want to, Tom, do you want to do your plug, and we'll get people to throw some questions in while you are doing that, and then we can answer some.
Yeah, I just saw one easy question. The reason why you'd be okay in 34 if you free hit 33 is because your 32 teams carry through pretty well.
So most of us will have projected a lot of players to play in 34 already.
Yeah,
but not many doublers.
Man United, Liverpool,
Bournemouth, Brentford,
Villa,
Everton, Fulham. Yeah.
So if you have a good team in 32, you probably have a good team in 34 is the long and short of it. But yeah, I'll whack on our sponsored message. It's the final stream that British Army Recruitment will be sponsoring. So thank you for their support. And we'll do some questions after the segment. This episode of the FPL Watch List is brought to you by British Army Recruitment. You may already know how exciting and challenging an army career could be, but you may also be wondering what's in it for you. On this podcast, we love sport and we love football. I'm sure that if you're listening to this, you do as well. You may not know this, but sport is built into your day-to-day army life. You don't have to squeeze football into your evenings because most bases reserve Wednesday afternoons just for sport. You can play rugby, football, cricket, or practically any other sport you can think of. The Army is also part FA affiliated with its own teams competing across the country, and can even fund your qualifications if you wish to become a professional coach or referee. Some soldiers even go on to compete at semi-professional level, playing at the biggest venues like Wimbledon and Twickenham. So whether you're in it for the camaraderie or aiming for the elite, the pathway is there with an army career. Plus, while you're doing all that, you're being paid to train in new skills, gaining civilian qualifications up to degree level. Away from the sports pitch, the Army is the UK's biggest apprenticeship provider and the #1 apprenticeship employer, as listed by the Sunday Times. So if that sounds like your kind of team, search Army Jobs to find out more. That's Army Jobs. We're back there. Thank you for their support throughout the last month or so. And that's search Army Jobs if that's something that interests you.
Okay, a few questions for you. Any thoughts on not going for 15 doublers on wildcard 32 apart from Bruno? So their example was, for example, in game week 33, Leeds were at home to Wolves, right? So could you go for, is that a better pick than like going Antoine Stack or going for Rodon instead of a Van Heck, for example, or a Hinchelwood? Or would you just chance the fixture, particularly because, the extra?
I think with DEFCONs, if you pick your defenders, I struggle to see why I'd pick Van Heck over Rodon.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get Stack, though. Stack or Enzo, I think you're probably going to get more points off Stack.
Yeah.
There's also Brentford, home to Fulham. That's going to be a tough sell for... if you're wildcarding this week, you have to get rid of Thiago, who hosts Everton and Fulham.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
tough.
no one's going to own Thiago in 33 regardless, I don't think, because it's a double.
Yeah.
But 32, and then 34 he's away at United. But
Are there any teams that have
he's got
great...
West Ham at home. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, are there any teams that have a great 33 that you'd want after? The best 33s on paper is Forest at home to Burnley.
Yeah, their end of the season's pretty rough.
Brentford, you just discussed.
It's quite good.
Leeds
is not bad, but they're feeling non-essential.
Home to West Ham, but Palace might be
Villa against Sunderland.
I mean, Palace could double 36.
They play Everton at home.
So not really. I would go 15 doublers, I think, apart from maybe
Yeah.
Bruno.
Just it is the analytical play, which you can argue whether that's boring or not, but a player with two fixtures is better than a player with one.
Do you think you would use a transfer in 33 to sell Bruno to an extra doubler? He's got Chelsea away as his single in 33.
And then in 35, he's got Liverpool at home. Chelsea have Forest at home. So that Palmer swap, I guess it's the Palmer swap, right? It looks good for 33 and looks good for 35. And then in 36, you probably want to reverse it.
It could also be Semenyo. You could go no Semenyo and then go down, but Palmer's the one that's more in line in terms of value, yeah. But it's two transfers.
I think I would hold on to Bruno, honestly. I don't know, is that like a...
Yeah, I mean, are we going to keep a clean sheet at Stamford Bridge against Man United?
Probably not.
So...
With the form Bruno's in, like if he came into this with like, you know, not playing out of his skin like he has been, it'd be worth considering. But I actually think you hold on to him.
The only other thing is you could captain Palmer in 35 at home to Forest. Bruno has Liverpool. Haaland goes to Everton.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry's not enamored by that, but...
Well, no, but I just look at the rest of them. Like, who do I captain there?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have... If Liverpool win and City don't double, captaincy might be quite interesting.
Would you almost be happy to just captain Bruno against Liverpool at home? Yeah. Liverpool with all their fixtures, Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst. His home record is...
It is good.
Unbelievable.
If Liverpool got through PSG, then I think people would consider it more.
That's a good point, yeah.
People were saying they'd look to sell if they were chasing, but if they weren't, they're not sure it's worth the 2 extra transfers if you're just trying to hold rank or hold a position.
That's fair.
Right. Is there an argument to take out Thiago and not own him anymore?
Well, he's not going to be on the wild card, is he? If that's a play. If you are not wildcarding, I think you would keep for this week.
Yeah, definitely. Everton at home.
Like, the next 4 are not bad, but he also does have United, City, Liverpool all away between now and the end of the season.
I think whether you're wildcarding in 32 or 35, you're going to sell him at some stage, right?
He's basically not going to be on anyone's wildcard.
Yeah, so...
When you choose to wildcard...
It'll probably be a natural ending, I would have thought, with the chip. Like, you don't need to force him out.
No. A few questions about... when would you play the triple captain if there is no double in 36? Presuming you're playing a chip in 33 as well. It's not great.
Yeah, that's not great, actually.
Salah, 38.
Yeah.
They're going to be passing him the ball.
Bruno this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be,
Leeds at home.
Worse. Arsenal have Burnley at home in 37.
City's best fixture. City, I mean, Haaland against Burnley in 34 if they don't double. If not, Brentford at home in 36. If not, I do think I'd put it on Salah in 38.
I think Bruno this week.
I think any Gordon home game's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Salah's like, it's kind of... I think we'd all put money on him scoring.
Last
season.
Yeah, I'd put it on Salah in 38 if there's no other
fun
doubles.
As well. Last
you pretty much guarantee 7 or 8 points. I think it's pretty unthinkable he doesn't score, so...
Yeah.
Good
shout.
Anything? Yeah, there were a few others. Thoughts on wildcard 35, 33, bench boost 35. I have actually considered this myself because the 35 fixtures are pretty good. For a lot of the teams that you'd want to own. Like Arsenal have Fulham at home, City go away to Everton, United host Liverpool's okay, like Newcastle host Brighton, Chelsea host Forest. So it's just another possibility, but it doesn't feel like it's got the same level of upside as saving that wild card to 35 or playing it early.
Mm-hmm.
But that would mean that you wouldn't have to worry about your bench in 33, so you could put a Leeds or a Wolves player. Like, you'd put Rodon in that, right? Burnley at home for your bench boost.
Yeah, like you'd go Darlow, Rodon, stack, and then bench boost them in 35 at home to Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad, because Newcastle have a good home game that week as well.
Yep.
Could be interesting. Then
Very.
free hit 34. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, if you've got wildcard, it makes it slightly more difficult, but I would just save the wildcard. I genuinely think that game week 38 Salah at home to Brentford is a pretty easy get out if you don't have another opportunity to play it, as long as you can find a way to buy him.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of chat about goalkeepers on wildcard. Could you go Donnarumma? Is there any love for Sanchez if Jorgensen's out, or do you just go David Raya? Because you're probably not going to own two expensive goalkeepers. You probably pick one of the expensive ones and then go either Verbruggen or Dubravka, you'd say, because of the money. I still think I'd go Raya.
Yeah, same.
Because if they are in the Champions League still, which we expect, in between game week 35 and 36, and they're doing well in the league, like it's pretty comfortable. It's no, like, Ben White could play the game, right? It could be Calafiori, it could be Hincapié. Just think David Raya is the safest.
So safe, yeah. And also I just want the goalkeeper from the best defence in the league that has a chance of doubling, so I'll take that.
Mamadashvili?
Yeah, I was about to say 4.1.
Yeah, great shout.
Alisson said on his Instagram story he's out for a while, but you don't really know if he, like, obviously second language, how long's a while? But
yeah. I suppose the issue with that is they'd be good if they double, and if they don't, then you're probably not going to do it. You could get to a position where Alisson is back for the last couple of games of the season, Arsenal have won the league, and suddenly you're looking at Raya as a risk and Alisson taking Mamadashvili's place back. That's and then you're like 2 weeks before the end of the season having to make a goalkeeper transfer, which is probably not what you want to do. Whereas someone like Darlow at Leeds has got Wolves at home, Burnley at home, Brighton at home, West Ham away. Like, Liverpool ship too many goals for me to take that risk, unless I knew that Alisson was out for the season.
But if it lets you afford, like, the way we were talking about Semenyo is quite pricey, then something to consider.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the Alisson injury, I was like, oh, that might be quite popular now.
Yeah.
Just anyone but Dubravka. Has there ever been a 4 million goalkeeper who hasn't risen in price the entire season? Despite playing every game.
Yeah.
I think I'd go Verbruggen.
Yeah, for sure. I just like Dubravka averages less than 3 points a game.
Yeah.
Like, and if you get to the end of the season and there was an issue with Raya, he finishes with Wolves at home, Leeds away, United at home. Like, it's fine.
True.
Burnley have Villa, Arsenal, Wolves. Like, it's okay. But cool. Anything else? Anything from either of you two that you'd like to cover before we wrap up, or we can go and have a look at our teams?
I think we're good. Go to the teams.
Yeah, I think if Liverpool, let's just finish on Liverpool. If Liverpool were to double, let's say Liverpool do win, do we go back to, because I think we all think that Ekitike is a risk, but then that means we think Salah's a risk. Does that make Wirtz a risk as well? Does it mean we have to pick Szoboszlai and Van Dijk, and then who's the third one?
Konate.
Salah will get momentum. He will get momentum, but
yeah, I like the Salah shout.
Liverpool to double, and we go Konate, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai.
Definitely
Really not.
Yeah. Oh God.
I think you would go, because in that situation, City wouldn't double, so you wouldn't have Haaland. So you probably would go Salah.
Yeah, I think that just the Salah narrative will pick up steam.
Why not? It's a bit more fun as well than Konate.
Yeah. Cool. Do you want to have a very quick look at our lineups? I just think it's a good indicator of why wildcard 32 is not locked in for us three compared to some others.
Yep.
Because our 32 lineups. I mean, do you want to go first, Stephen? Because you don't have the bench boost, so
Yeah.
I think it's even more realistic for you not to wildcard this week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, looking at my team, I've got Raya, Gabriel, both against Bournemouth at home. It's a back four as things stand, everyone with home fixtures, Collins, Van Dijk, Alderete. I've got Bruno, Rogers, and Dango in the midfield three, and then a front three of Thiago, Ekitike, Haaland, and then a bench of Dubravka, Wilson, Tavernier, and Hill, who both play against Arsenal away. So yeah, more than happy to bench these two Bournemouth lads against Arsenal away. Toughest fixture in the league, arguably. Harry Wilson definitely has a case to come into this team. Liverpool away, I mean, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it for Wilson. And I am happy to bench him, but yeah, it depends on a few other things. Ekitike, is Dango going to get benched again? Yeah, I've just got so many home fixtures in this other than Rodgers and Haaland. Everyone else in my starting 11 has a home fixture. Why would I wildcard out of that? I've got my triple Brentford. I like them this game week. Alderete against Spurs at home. Yeah, I think this looks really good for, just roll the transfer and pick up some information.
Everton Brentford is a Champions League 6-pointer. But yeah, I
it's
agree.
huge.
Like, team looks good this week. I mean, they've got things, as you say, like Dango and Ekitike that we can think about once we get closer to the deadline. But it looks
Bowen's
pretty good
just
on
such
paper.
an easy buy, and then your team looks great, basically.
Yeah, looking good.
Harry?
I've got Wilson. I don't have Wilson in. Wilson versus Dewsbury Hall would be really close if I don't play my chip. Yeah, so no surprise. The reason I want as much chaos as I possibly can get, particularly with Liverpool winning, is because I've got wildcard free hit and 5 free transfers to use. So Raya, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Richards versus Tarkowski's close. Bruno, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, and Burmo, Haaland, Thiago, Ekitike. 5 frees. So it's very possible that I can get through both strategies pretty well. I would quite like Liverpool to win, as I've mentioned, because it would allow wildcard 32, free hit 30. Wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34, and then get to 35 with 5 frees for those doubles, which I don't think many people will do. But if City win, it's pretty easy just to carry players through to the end of the season. I still think wildcard 32 is probably the most likely, just because of how strong that bench boost is. Like if I'm 30 points outside the top 10k, which is quite a lot. So I have to hit those chips really well. So as I said, like backing against a bench boost with 30 fixtures doesn't feel like the sensible way to try and do that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You could burn one this week.
Yeah. If you wanted to.
Yeah, I think I'd have places like, I mean, I could just play Wilson, but I could make them better. I could definitely make Richards better, and Ekitike I don't think is particularly likely to start, and Brian Burmo has been pretty frustrating over the past few weeks. So there's definitely ways like I could use a transfer.
You could use all 5 of them in that case.
Yeah, well, I have also considered that, just using like all of them, bench boost 33, free hit 34, wildcard 35. Both are possible. So we'll see.
Nice one. Tom?
Fair enough, yeah. So I've got Sanchez, maybe, who knows. Sanchez, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Chow, Enzo, Rogers, Fernandez, captain, Dango, Ekitike, Thiago, Haaland, with also Harry Wilson benched. That's probably a case to put him in over Enzo, maybe. But I've got nothing in the bank, 2 free transfers. And if I didn't wildcard, I can exactly afford Cunha and Bowen for Enzo and Ekitike, and I think that would just make so much sense. If I'm looking at 32, 34, both home games, both appealing home games.
So here's a question for you. If that's the transfers you can exactly afford, if we get before the FA Cup and one of them was going to rise in price, would you do the transfers?
To be honest, I don't even know what happened last night, so maybe I can't afford it now, but... I wouldn't use my transfers. No, I wouldn't use my transfers without knowing. I'd just get someone else instead of Cunha.
Semenyo. Could you afford him?
Oh, he's more expensive.
Yeah.
Because the reason I ask is you could do them, and if it goes wrong, you just wildcard anyway.
That's an exceptional point that I hadn't considered.
Well, yeah, I didn't think.
Yeah.
But then I
Okay.
think you could easily just not pick Cunha.
Yeah, but if you're looking at there's not much that, like, those 2 weeks.
So if we look at
32, 34, you were looking for a midfielder at 8 million or less.
32, 34, sort by attack, difficulty, United atop,
Not bad.
followed by Wolves, Sunderland, Spurs at home, Forest at home.
Yeah, you're picking Cunha.
Yeah,
Like, you're not
I'll
picking
do.
a Faye or something.
Unless it's Liverpool, unless you buy Szoboszlai.
That is
Who
Palace and
Fulham.
Fulham. Yeah.
Fulham at home, Palace home.
So
I think if you
yeah.
didn't do it and you got priced out, you probably would buy Szoboszlai.
On prices, Bowen's on 92%, but he's hardly moving, so...
Yeah, you're getting priced out of that before the FA Cups.
Yeah, fine. I do Sobis like Cunha then. I think selling Enzo is a definite, and it's a decent week to move off Ekatike.
Yeah.
And then Fernandes
Nice.
captain, we were all kind of locked in on that, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Despite Haaland,
Yeah.
I think he might enjoy himself at Stamford Bridge, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Cool. Yeah, I think Bruno is the best captain, which is why you'd want him on wildcard 32, even if he doesn't double.
Agreed.
Neil Sir saying in the chat that your team's wildcardable, Tom. To be honest, I think everyone's team is wildcardable. I would like to see a team that wouldn't benefit from a wildcard if there's loads of doubles in 33, because I don't see
Yeah.
anyone with more than like 5 or 6 players predicted to double.
But I
So,
free
yeah.
hit in 33, so...
Oh, if you didn't wildcard.
Yeah, I think my team looks fine
Yeah.
in 32, 34.
Yeah.
Would you play Dubravka
Yeah.
or Sanchez this week?
Dubravka.
Yeah, for upside, I guess, because I've got Haaland. I
Yeah.
should. All 4 of Burnley's clean sheets have been at home, so there is
There you
that.
go. All 4.
Yeah, all 4.
We've played 31 games.
Great. Right, that is all. We are having a week off next week from the FPL watch list because we'd be doing another week where we'd be talking at you like this before the FA Cups. But we'll be back after the FA Cup to dissect what it means, look at our plans. We'll probably all have decided if we're definitely wildcarding or not by that time. So things will be much clearer. Hopefully this has been some interesting if, buts and maybes. If not, we'll be back to normal in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the break. Thank you both very much. Enjoy your break. Stephen, enjoy your trip away.
I will indeed. I will indeed. Thank you.
Thank you both. And yeah, thank you all. If you could drop a like before you go, subscribe so you'll have a reminder when we come back after the FA Cup, and we will see you all very soon.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.